Hi, this is vote scamming fake poll scams 101 with Jason and 4. CNN poll, Democrats up big in Florida. CNN poll right here. CNN poll, Democrats up in Florida with 2 weeks to go. As the 2 final weeks of campaigning begin, Democrats hold an edge. Both gubernatorial and Senate. Oh, they're both Democrats are up. What do you know? So I scroll down. Give me the polling stuff. Now you would just normally look at this and it's hidden. It's darkened or lightened, excuse me, a gray lightened color so that it's smaller. We have smaller data or text on the screen. Everything else is nice size. Look at this. I mean, it's great size, easy font to read. Until you get here, you got to really focus on it. And I've got 24-inch monitors. But I even have to do this to look at it. And where are they getting their data from? Oh. So they've taken a normal thing you do with a hyperlink and underline it or make it a different color or both. And they've made it the same color as the rest of this hidden, tiny text. Not thinking anyone's going to hover their mouse over it. So I clicked on one of them. Let's take a look at the page. And I searched for the word Democrat, looking for the area where it says out of how many people we polled, which of them identified as Democrat, beforehand, so we knew who we're talking to, which of them was a Republican, and which was a different party. Now, again, this is how they're going to F you in the A if you don't go out and vote. They're going to tell you, like I just said in my other video, he's up way ahead, but I showed you, nobody's going to the rally. Nobody is going to the rally. I want you to understand that if there were literally 1,003 adults in the state of Florida, right here, out of the millions that are in Florida, just bear with me, and 1,003 of the adults of millions in Florida were Democrats, the other millions were Republicans. What they're saying, we polled 1,003 people. They polled specific people in which they already knew the result. I'm going to call all the Democrats and ask them how they're going to vote. Mostly Democrats. And I'm going to call a few Republicans, massively outweighed by the Democrats I call. And I'm going to tell you I polled 1,003 people. And here's what they said. They're voting Democrat. They're significantly ahead, actually. It's got a pretty good lead. Listen to this. And this one's Nevada, whatever. It's the same. I looked at the other things, whatever. Who live in Nevada were interviewed by live interviewers calling both landline and cell phones. Interviews were conducted in English and Spanish. Among the entire sample, 32% said they were Democrats. 26% said they identified as Republicans. If you're going to do a poll, you better do 50-50 even. Even Steven. It needs to be 32% Democrats and 32% Republicans, except there's a problem here. Well, that's not enough. That's 64% if it was 32-32. That's 64%, Joe. Where's the rest of it? Oh, I'm glad you asked. 42% describe themselves as independents or members of another party. You couldn't find out what party? This is a poll. You know who you're calling. You're going to ask questions. What's the other party? You ready? Democrat. So that they can do this poll and say 32% were Democrats, so we're already weighing it heavy because 26% that they polled were Republicans. It's already out. It's already lopsided. Immediately. Just like we saw during Trump's run for the presidency, which he won. All these lopsided votes, and I'm looking at the data. Oh, they heavily outweighed in the poll the Democrats. That's funny. And now we've got 42%, which is bigger than the 32% Democrats and the 26% Republicans. So we have another area or another piece of this poll. It's in thirds, right? Republican, Democrat, and other. There's 3. And the 42% describe themselves as either independent, so there's definitely independents. We got that. Or members of another party. What party? The Democratic Party. I'm here to tell you, the Democratic Party. So no, it's not 32%. It's probably 50% Democrat, 26% Republican, and whatever the remainder is actually independent. These polling agencies, it makes me wonder, are they paid shills? They know what they're, I mean, do they even care? Because CNN's the one we want you to, who paid SSRS for the poll? Who paid them to do this poll? Because they don't do polls for free. Since CNN's linking to them, source, CNN poll conducted by SSRS. So this is a CNN poll conducted by them, by this company. Meaning, this is a CNN poll. We paid for it. So if CNN's paying for it, the polling agency knows we're going to give CNN the data they want. The same way the scientists that look into these chemical poisons that we're allowed to put in our bodies, these drugs that get approved at FDA. I'm talking about Monsanto. The guy won his lawsuit, $250 million, cancer. Went to the appellate court. He won again. It's done. He won. Leave him alone. That's breaking news recently, too. So not just poison that we can spray on the food and we ingest it. It gets all over the little pieces of it, getting all of our food and drinks, and we ingest it. Well, we had studies. We paid for studies. Our studies said that this was not poisonous. Our studies showed that it was not cancerous. It wasn't a carcinogen. Who did you pay to do the study? This private company over here. Who do you always use when you do your studies? The same private company. And then we find the private company is skewing the results so that they can remain a highly paid partnership, if you will, private company. We give you the results you need. You're going to pay us the salary we need. We got to feed our family. We got to eat too. Not giving two craps that they're allowing a poison. And the same thing with our foods. They add a little chemical here, but it's under 1%, so it's allowed. Well, how about that chemical? Well, that's the law states it can be under, and I say 1%, it may be 0.1%, whatever it is. But there's no law that says you can have too many chemicals in the food. So you can load it up with a ton of different chemicals. Some, I'm sure, which do the same thing. But since they're only allowed a tiny amount, that's the FDA limit. We got to create a new chemical that does the same thing. Add that to the food. We're allowed to put that in there. We've not exceeded the limit. Add another chemical, same thing, because we're never exceeding that limit. Is there a limit on the number of chemicals that can go into food? I would normally like to say, well, I'd hope so. Pick up a can of food. Sometimes there's, 15 things in there. Many of, such and such for freshness. Such and such to make it last. Such and such for coloring. Such and such for taste. Whatever, And then you pick up another can or whatever food, and then you go, and then there's it's a paragraph. It's a 5-part essay. I feel like I just copy that in school. I'm going to get an A+. I'm going to get a freaking A+ in this exam. I got to do an awesome 5-part essay. I'll just take the freaking ingredients off top ramen noodles. Here we go. Here you go. I guess there's not a limit, is there? This is how they're trying to control you. And this is benefiting the Democratic Party. # walk away.